Ah, the holidays. Such a joyous time. Who doesn't love frantically trying to finish your work before year's end, study for all your finals if you're still in school, finish off that holiday gift list that you left to the last minute because you decided not to do it early like you said you would, but anyway. And last but not least, try to cram in far too many social gatherings that you don't want to go to but you agreed to them months ago and now you're just... It's just all so damn stressful. I don't know, sometimes I just wanna...
Rip and tear until it is done.
No, exactly. Wait a minute, what? Who the hell was that? Well, alright, here we go again. Can't honestly lie on this one because I have been dying to play Doom Eternal. Played the original Doom when it first came out quite a few years back. Unfortunately, never got around to playing the next installment, but here we are. Better late than never. Might as well get this out of the way again. Again, subjective opinion, everything I say is based on my own rating system, and if you disagree with anything I have to say, that's perfectly fine. Let me know down below. Really quickly, I just wanted to go over something. So the intent of these reviews is value out of 100 hours. I'm not really scoring the story, I'm not really scoring anything besides the replayability of a game and I guess the gameplay and how much fun you can get out of 100 hours on my end. I got a host of shit from a friend of mine over the score I gave the last game, but I was trying to explain to him it's not based on the story. If I solely base it off the story, yes, it would have had a higher score, but no, we're looking for replayability and value for time here. Just wait until I tell him that in hindsight, I probably should have scored BioShock a little bit lower based on those parameters, but at the end of the day, that's the main premise of this entire video series. Are the games we're paying for actually worth the time we have to invest in them, or is it simply throw away $60 to get 4 hours of fun out of it? But other than that, yeah, let's get into it. Sticking to the same format as last time, we'll be checking in at the 10-hour mark or first completion, whatever comes first. Then from there, 25, 50, and 75 hours, and capping it off at 100 hours where we'll give our final score and thoughts on the game in relation to the price that we paid. So yeah, I guess I'll see you at first completion or 10 hours, whichever comes first. Holy hell, I almost missed the 10-hour mark. Can't honestly say that's a bad thing. I'm actually very much enjoying playing through the game. But I am kind of shocked that 10 hours snuck up on me so quickly. I have absolutely no clue where I am in relation to the end of the game. All I know is I haven't hit it yet, and well, let's be honest, a game that has a campaign over 10 hours, that's a plus in my book. Granted, not sure how long the game is if you just strictly run through it, but I'm getting very much sidetracked looking for secrets or looking for secret areas, weapon upgrades, or even just secret encounters like the Slayer gates or the little challenge fights. But enough babbling. Let's get into the first 10 hours. Alright, to start things off, because I feel like I would be remiss leaving this out, this game is absolutely gorgeous. Every single level feels unique, it is beautifully designed, and with some of the creatures, soldiers, and demons walking around each level, it really feels like there's life. Well, demons, but it feels alive. It feels like other things are going on outside of you just shooting down hordes 24/7. On top of that, the soundtrack. Oh my god. I mean, you know, I'm not even gonna say anything. Just have a listen. Had far too many examples of the soundtrack to choose from, so I chose this one because it's one of my favorites. It really gives the feel that you're fighting in a gladiatorial arena against a dangerous foe, and it's just, oh, it's just great. Outside of those aspects, the other thing I would really like to touch on are the guns. In most games that are heavily relied on shooting or first-person shooters in general, sometimes the guns feel bland, overused, or just recycles of old ones. Not in Doom Eternal. The shotguns, the machine guns, the ballista, the BFG, all of these guns are so unique, and because of the upgrade system, you can change how they operate, and that's just amazing. In a situation where you need to be able to shoot fast, you can switch your shotgun to full auto, or if you really need to get long range out of it, you can switch it to sticky bombs, which can really clear up some space for you. And that goes for every weapon. Every weapon has 2 different modes along with its primary fire, and that's just fantastic. It keeps every instance or situation that you run into, you have options to get out of. Another thing that I'm really enjoying is how much the game rewards reward you for playing super aggressively. It's not a game that you can stack tons of ammo on top of each other, so you're consistently running out of bullets in fights, but that's fine. You have a chainsaw to regain your ammo. You have a flamethrower that while they're on fire, as long as you're shooting or punching them, you will get your armor back. You have glory kills to get your health back. You have to play aggressive in this game. I started off playing passively and got punished for it almost every single time. Overall, I have no complaints 10 hours in. I really don't think I should at this point. I was a little worried that an arena shooter game like this was going to be a little too repetitive for me. I don't know, doing the same pattern over and over sometimes gets to me, but not even close. Every time I jumped into an arena fight, it actually completely reset my enjoyment, and I was back to just, okay, we need to kill them as fast as possible, manage the heavies, get your ammo back, get your shields back, let's go, come on. And I think that's just amazing because there really isn't a big pattern to the game. It's essentially platform, fight, repeat. But in this case, it works, and I love it. The last thing I would like to touch on is the movement, but I haven't quite mastered it. It's a ton of fun to dash around, use your, I guess, fishing hook on your shotgun, and just fly around the map absolutely murking demons 24/7. But I'm not exactly the most proficient with it yet, so we'll save that for a little bit later when I can really get a handle on how it moves. But other than that, yeah, see you again at the 25-hour mark. I'm off to kill more demons. Coming up on 25 hours here, and our second playthrough on a higher difficulty, I was able to finish the first playthrough in roughly 14 hours. I actually didn't write it down, and I'm kicking myself for it because I told myself a million times, write it down, I need to know how long. But guess what I forgot? From what I can tell from recordings, it was about 14 hours in. But either way, 14 hours is a fairly significant time for a single playthrough. It's actually double the length of the last game, which is nice. But after the first playthrough and another 11 hours gone by, I do have some new thoughts on the game, so let's get into that. Okay, first off, there is significantly more to the gameplay of Doom Eternal than I thought there was, and it's kind of amazing. I think I went into this remembering Doom 2016, where most of the levels, while they did have the arena fights, was still very linear, wasn't as hectic, and certainly was not as fast-paced. But as soon as I left the Hurt Me Plenty difficulty and moved on to Ultra Violence, holy crap, I had to reassess how I was playing. Number one, I definitely wasn't moving enough, but I also wasn't quick-swapping weapons, wasn't really using anything outside of the super shotgun or plasma rifle, and you really need to utilize everything in your arsenal. I'm ashamed to admit it, but Ultraviolence kicked my ass on the first couple of levels, so I can't even imagine what Nightmare's gonna look like. I went back to my previous playthrough to look for more items, and also to kind of hone in my movement and actually actively dodge attacks from heavies, as well as actually shooting their weak points so I get used to it, because believe it or not, you have to do it. I mean, I guess you technically don't have to, but it certainly makes the fights easier. But yeah, we'll check back in on the gameplay at 50 hours. I really need to kind of get more comfortable with it and explore a bit more. Genuinely shocked that 25 hours in, the gameplay is still teaching me things. I did not expect that whatsoever. The only other thing is that the story's kind of meh. I mean, they try to shoehorn in some stuff about Doom Guy's history, where he came from and all that, but if I'm being completely honest, I don't really care. I didn't go into this thinking the story was the main reason I was playing the game. I assumed the main reason I was playing was going to be more of, how do I explain this? Die, foul demons, die! I got plenty of lead to go around, come on! Anyway, so yeah, I'm shocked to say it, but I have like 0 complaints at this point. I mean, in terms of the story or the campaign modes, I guess the burnout's about a 2, but I got options to play through the games different ways, different modes. I mean, we have Horde Mode, Battle Mode, Master Levels, just playing with cheats on, and that's all before we even reach the DLC, which I still need to purchase, but I'm a little conflicted on that, but we'll figure that out in the next 25 hours or so. All right, I think that's it for here. I'm gonna go work on my movement and actually playing the game properly, so I'll see you again at the 50-hour check-in. Holy crap, missed that one a little bit. Sorry, Horde Mode's kind of consumed all of my attention. I just kind of started it and went into it not really knowing what to expect, but oh my god, it's actually a lot of fun. It's definitely more arcadey. I'm trying to beat my high score and it's not going well, but that's besides the point. Me sucking is not your problem. Entirely me problem. It's a bad problem to have. So quick update, I did end up purchasing both DLCs. Haven't touched them yet because I got warned by a friend of mine that Ancient Gods 1, or Tag 1, I guess, is significantly harder even on lower difficulties. So I'm kind of waiting until I'm fully done with exploring the main game, playing some of the side modes, and then I'll go into those. But for now, let's go over 50 hours, because I got some stuff to say. So right off the bat, I'm throwing myself more into Horde Mode than I am Battle Mode 2.0 for a pretty specific reason. I did give Battle Mode 2.0 a shot, but just from the little I played, I can kind of tell it's just one of those things that's just not for me. By no means am I saying that it's a bad mode. I'm not saying that at all. But for me personally, it's not something I want to invest a lot of time in because I just don't really enjoy the style of it. I had assumed it was going to be more of a Gears of War team deathmatch kind of like gritty team-on-team shooter, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It's It's more of a 2 demon versus 1 slayer gank fight, and you know what? It's just not for me. However, how in-depth it is and how much strategy and other aspects can go into it, I could see how someone who really enjoys it would put a ton of hours into it. It seems complicated. It seems like there's actually a thought process, a strategy. Honestly, I would assume it's actually a pretty great mode. It's just not for me, so for the sake of that, and I will try to revisit it before the 100 hours is up, I'm gonna stick to Horde mode for the time being. I tried master levels and I failed miserably, so clearly we still need work on this game. And honestly, just because a mode doesn't really vibe with me, I would rather not force myself to do it, because I think that's gonna negatively affect the overall score at the end, and God forbid it prevents someone who really would have enjoyed the mode from playing it just because they saw some stupid kid's review and decided not to try it at all. So we're gonna avoid that. If you want to give it a shot, I would highly recommend it. You might love it, you might hate it, but give it a shot. The second thing I want to talk about is 50 hours in, I am absolutely dumbfounded that the gameplay has stood up to this degree for this long. I really did not expect this. I really expected at about the 25-30 hour mark I was done with the game. I had done everything I could and it was over, but that's not the case at all. I'm leaving subsequent arena battles not thinking, oh good, we got through that, but more thinking, well, this could have been cleaner. I could have killed him a little bit easier. I really drove myself into a corner on that part, and genuinely wanting to actually go back and redo it. Like, can I do this better? Can I move better? Can I shoot better? Can I hit pinpoints better? I really haven't felt more burned out on the game at all. I'm genuinely enjoying going through the new mode, or even going back to the gameplay to just see if I can do it on a higher difficulty. I'm starting to realize the skill ceiling in Doom Eternal is nuts, and I didn't expect this, and it's such a pleasant surprise. From where I'm standing now, Doom 2016 doesn't even hold a candle to it, and I loved that game. I can't even say anything bad about that game, but Doom Eternal just dials it up in every aspect. I'm hoping it holds through to the 75 hours and I don't drastically change my opinion, but I'm really looking forward to the next 25 hours because it's things I want to do. Honestly, I have nothing but good things to say about it at this point. I mean, the story and the campaign do get old. I won't ignore that fact, but there's so much variety and so much I have yet to master. I'm just looking forward to trying to do a little bit better as we go forward. I'll see you at 75 hours. I'm gonna go try to dial some things in. Sorry, this one was long. Okay, at least I caught this one this time. Gonna try to keep this one brief and keep the majority of my thoughts for the end here, but I do have a few things to say, so let's get into it. All right, so I finally did get around to playing the DLCs, and holy crap, Tag 1 absolutely blows it out of the water. Every arena has 3 or 4 times the demons you would normally encounter inside the game, and that just really dials up the gameplay and dials up the difficulty to a point that I utterly failed in the first couple of attempts. It was not something I was expecting, but the DLC actually increased the difficulty so much that I would imagine if you had only played the campaign through once or twice, you would struggle so much to play it just due to the sheer amount of heavies that spawn at any given time. Something I struggled with greatly was I was running around for a lot of the end phases because I was constantly out of bullets, so my chainsaw management clearly needs work, and essentially I would have to run around until my chainsaw refilled to get my bullets back to shoot a little bit, and then do that over and over and over again until I finally beat the Horde. This is not even mentioning the final boss of the first expansion gave me quite a hard time because the mob management was clearly a problem for me. I was better at moving and shooting, but managing those ghosts kind of became a problem. I eventually was able to get it, so no big deal there. Granted, I did it on Ultra Violence. We're not going to talk about Nightmare because I'm still struggling in that aspect, but hey, you can only get so good at a game. Tag 2, on the other hand, I have a couple of problems with, but we'll talk about that at the end. But other than that, at 75 hours, something I've really enjoyed doing is going back through the campaign levels with full cheats on and just kind of working on movement, just absolutely obliterating demons, and honestly just having a really good time with the game. I think to a degree me doing that has been detrimental because with cheats on I don't really have to worry about anything, so I can get away with a lot of really stupid things, but if I'm playing without the cheats, you really can't. But I digress. I was just having fun with the game and wanted to spend some time just absolutely murking people and just having a grand old shoot 'em up time. For the next 25 hours, I do have a couple of plans. I really want to beat Tag 1 on Nightmare, so I'm hoping I can get that done in 25 hours. Genuinely, I don't know, because I am not the most proficient at these games, but we'll do our best. Anyway, I'll see you at the end and we'll give our final thoughts and final score on the game.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
100 hours. 100 hours absolutely demolishing the hordes of hell. Is there a better way to spend it? Well, now that we're done, let's get to scoring. So first and foremost, the gameplay of Doom Eternal, in my opinion, is unmatched compared to anything that I have played in recent memory. And that's coming from someone who's genuinely not that great at the game. I may have spent 100 hours playing it, but I am nowhere near a master of any mechanic, utility, or anything in this game. There are fights I'm happy with, there are fights I'm not happy happy with. And to be entirely honest, I'm still struggling with the highest difficulties of this game, whether that be through the campaign, through Horde mode, and specifically the Ancient Gods DLC 1. I do want to take a couple of seconds and talk about the Ancient Gods Part 2, which is a significant departure from Tag 1. The enemies are less abundant, and frankly, I found the final boss rather annoying. He has 5 different phases, which unfortunately are exactly the same each time with minor differences, and your window to hit him seems to not show up half the time. But I digress. He's not exactly bad. I do find him annoying compared to the rest of the bosses in the game. Other than that, I think the boss battles in this game are fantastic. From the Doom Hunter, the Gladiator, the Con Maker, the Icon of Sin, and the Seraphim from Tag 1. All presented a pretty decent challenge, some more than others, but even still are great battles in my opinion, and I really enjoyed each one. I've gone back and fought them multiple times, even after the initial playthrough of the game. Speaking of the initial playthrough, the story does leave something to be desired, but in 100% honesty, that doesn't really take away from the score at all. I'm not playing this game for the story. I'm playing this game entirely for its gameplay, and I am so happy that I decided to play this game. The movement, the guns, the utility, everything at your disposal can be used in such precise manners that it really keeps the game going no matter how long you've been playing it. And even after that, when you've kind of adjusted to how the game is supposed to play and actually utilizing your arsenal to its full extent, there is a skill cap of the game for true mastery that I don't think I've hit anywhere close to, and in my opinion could take hundreds if not thousands of hours to really get down, which is genuinely shocking to say considering it is for all intents and purposes, a single player game, with the exception of Battle Mode 2.0, which I gave it multiple shots on different occasions throughout the 100 hours, and I just have to say it's not for me. I don't think it's a bad mode, but I think other people will enjoy it far more than I do. It's just not for me. I don't have a better way to say that, and I hope if you do end up purchasing the game or end up playing this game at any point, you do give it a shot, because I do think there is a community out there for this game. It seems like it has a pretty heavy community base as it is, but try it out for yourself, see what you think, don't just go by what I'm saying. It's not for me, that's just how it is at the end of the day. As much as I would like to gush about the gameplay, the arena fights, and anything else that involves actually fighting in this game, I feel like I've kind of beat that horse to death throughout the past 15 minutes or so the last thing I'm gonna say about the gameplay is it just doesn't seem to get old, and that is amazingly impressive. With some FPSs out there today, the gameplay loop gets monotonous and even to a degree that you're repeating something ad nauseum. And while Doom Eternal is a very consistent gameplay loop of platform and then fight, somehow it doesn't get old. There's new demons, there's new encounters, there's new situations that you can throw different guns at. You might not go into it full ammo, you might not go into it full health or armor, but somehow the start of every fight feels fresh, unique, and you just know you're in for it. I think that kind of summed up one of my biggest complaints about the game, that it is so repetitive, and I know for a lot of people that are sort of like me, that repetitiveness can kill a game very quickly, but I would highly recommend you try this out, because even for someone who really despises repetitive gameplay, it was one of the most enjoyable games I've played in a long time. But with all that being said, it's time to score it. Now, I wrestled with this one for a little while because ideally I would have made this score a little bit higher, but through my notes and through things I've jotted down over the 100 hours, realistically, for the average person, I genuinely don't know how far they would go into the mastery of the game if they didn't have to. Here I'm stuck playing 100 hours, so I need to find more and more things which increase the gameplay loop or increase the experience. So, at the end of it, I landed on a score of 68 out of 100. I think realistically, even to the casual player, if you paid for this game, you can easily get 68 hours of gameplay and fun out of the game with very little issue. I would have liked to make the joke of 66.6, but trying to stick to my notes here. So with our overall score of 68, we take that and divide it by the cost of the game, which was $39.99. A little more expensive for its age, but you do get a lot more playtime out of it. That leaves us with an overall price per hour at 59 cents. Frankly, I still would consider that a deal, considering that I think the average player will get 68 hours out of it. And even if you don't want to pay the full $40, it has been seen on sale for $9.99. Now, I didn't include the price of the DLC. While they also have been seen on sale, their average price seems to sit around $20 a piece. And I think that's going to come down to personal preference. If you get a lot of playtime out of the standard edition, I would highly recommend looking into Tag 1, as it adds about roughly 3 hours if you just play through it once, but if you intend to play through it multiple times on higher difficulties, it really does add value to the game. But I'll leave that to you to make your own decision based on how you feel about the game if you were to purchase it. Again, don't ever take anything that I'm saying at face value. This is my opinion of the game, but if you would like to give it a shot based on me, hey, more for it. Just don't spend a ton of money up front. See how you like the standard edition first. But yeah, that's about it for me. Honestly, even been past 100 hours, I'm probably going to continue playing this just because I really want to dial some things in. I feel like I should have been better after 100 hours, but I don't know. Not that great of a gamer if you can't tell. But anyway, I was actually smart this time and threw a poll up, so our next game is going to be Dishonored, and I am so excited. I've been dying for years to play this game, just never got around to it, and now I have an excuse. Thank you. So yeah, hopefully I can keep these up about once a month. So a month from now, we'll be playing Dishonored, and we'll be back with a 100-hour review on that. Till then, see ya.